The plane descends through wisps of cotton-white clouds, and suddenly, the world below transforms into a masterpiece of emerald islands scattered across turquoise waters like precious stones on velvet. This is your first glimpse of the Philippines, an archipelago of 7,641 islands that has remained one of Asia's best-kept secrets, though not for much longer. Maria Santos wipes the condensation from her airplane window, her heart racing with anticipation. After years of scrolling through travel blogs and watching countless videos about exotic destinations, she'd finally saved enough to visit the Philippines. What she didn't know was that this journey would fundamentally change how she understood beauty, adventure, and the meaning of hospitality. A land of endless discoveries. The Philippines isn't just a destination, it's a kaleidoscope of experiences waiting to unfold. Unlike countries where you can see the highlights in a single week, this Southeast Asian gem demands multiple visits, each revealing new layers of wonder that previous journeys only hinted at. Maria's adventure begins in Manila, the pulsing heart of the nation. The capital city is a fascinating contradiction. Spanish colonial churches stand proudly beside gleaming modern skyscrapers, while street vendors selling bibingka, rice cakes, operate in the shadows of luxury shopping malls. The walled city of Intramuros takes her back 4 centuries, its cobblestone streets and ancient fortifications whispering stories of galleons, conquistadors, and revolution. But Manila is merely the prologue. The real story of the Philippines unfolds across its scattered islands, each with its own personality, its own magic. Palawan, the last frontier. When Maria arrives in Palawan, she understands why it consistently ranks among the world's best islands. El Nido's limestone cliffs rise dramatically from crystal-clear lagoons, creating secret beaches accessible only by kayak or bangka, traditional Filipino boat. She spends her days island hopping, discovering hidden lagoons where the water is so clear that her boat seems to float on air, suspended above gardens of coral teeming with tropical fish. The big lagoon leaves her speechless. Towering karst formations surround a vast pool of jade-green water that shifts through dozens of shades as clouds play across the sun. She paddles her kayak into small lagoon through a narrow opening in the rock, emerging into a perfectly circular chamber where walls of stone rise hundreds of feet on all sides, and she's utterly, blissfully alone with nature. In Coron, Maria discovers another world entirely. The town is famous for its World War II wreck diving, where Japanese supply ships now serve as artificial reefs, encrusted with coral, and home to schools of barracuda and lionfish. Even as a snorkeler, she explores several wrecks in shallow water, feeling like an underwater archaeologist uncovering secrets from history. But it's Kayangan Lake that captures her soul. After climbing hundreds of steps carved into the cliff face, she reaches a viewpoint that's been featured in countless magazines and travel shows. The reality exceeds every photograph. The lake itself, nestled in a crater surrounded by jagged limestone formations, is fed by freshwater springs that keep the water pristine and refreshingly cool. A perfect reward after the climb. Boracay, where paradise meets celebration. From Palawan's wild beauty, Maria travels to Boracay, an island that represents the Philippines' more developed yet equally enchanting side. White Beach stretches for 4 kilometers, its sand so fine and white that it squeaks beneath her feet and stays cool even under the tropical sun. She learns this phenomenon is due to the high quality of the powdered coral and shells that compose the beach, nature's own engineering marvel. Days in Boracay follow a blissful rhythm. Mornings begin with sunrise yoga on the beach, followed by breakfast of fresh mango and tapa, cured beef, at a local eatery. She tries kiteboarding for the first time, learning from patient instructors who seem to have endless reserves of encouragement. Afternoons are for exploring, Taking a para, traditional sailboat, ride at sunset, the woven sails catching the golden light as skilled sailors navigate using techniques passed down through generations. As night falls, Boracay transforms. Fire dancers perform on the beach, their torches creating spirals of light against the darkening sky. Music drifts from beachfront bars where both tourists and locals gather, and Maria finds herself dancing salsa with a friendly group of Filipino families who insist she join their celebration, a birthday, a graduation, or perhaps no special occasion at all beyond the joy of being alive in paradise. Banaue, stairways to the sky seeking something different from beach life. Maria ventures north to Banaue in the Ifugao province. Here, she encounters one of humanity's most remarkable achievements, the Banaue Rice Terraces, often called the eighth wonder of the world. These terraces were carved into the mountains over 2,000 years ago by the indigenous Ifugao people, creating an agricultural system so sophisticated it still functions today. The terraces climb the mountainsides in graceful curves, following the natural contours of the land. At sunrise, when mist settles in the valleys and the first light catches the flooded paddies, the terraces glow like sheets of hammered silver climbing into the clouds. Maria hikes through the terraces with a local guide, learning about the complex irrigation system that channels water from the rainforests above. She visits traditional Ifugao villages where elderly women still wear their native dress and demonstrate weaving techniques unchanged for centuries. Over sweet potato and mountain rice, the village elder shares stories of ancestor spirits and the importance of preserving cultural heritage in a rapidly modernizing world. The experience reminds Maria that the Philippines offers more than postcard-perfect beaches. It's a country where ancient cultures survive, where traditions are living practices rather than museum exhibits. Cebu and Bohol, diving with giants. In Cebu, Maria takes the ferry to Oslab, despite some ethical concerns she's researched beforehand. The opportunity to swim with whale sharks, the largest fish in the ocean, proves irresistible. These gentle giants, some reaching over 30 feet long, glide through the water with impossible grace. Swimming alongside them, Maria feels simultaneously insignificant and profoundly connected to the natural world. She balances this with a visit to Moalboal, where responsible turtle watching allows her to snorkel with sea turtles in their natural habitat, undisturbed and free. The difference is palpable. These creatures live their lives on their own terms, and watching them feels like a privilege rather than an entitlement. In Bohol, Maria discovers the Chocolate Hills, over 1,200 perfectly conical hills that turn chocolate brown in the dry season. The geological formation is unique in the world, and standing atop the viewing deck, she feels like she's stepped onto an alien planet. Later, she visits the Philippine Tarsier Sanctuary, where these tiny primates, among the world's smallest, cling to branches with their enormous eyes tracking every movement. Each tarsier is no bigger than a human fist, yet they embody the Philippines' commitment to protecting its endemic wildlife, the Filipino spirit, hospitality beyond compare. As Maria's journey continues, she realizes that the Philippines' greatest attraction isn't any landmark or beach. It's the Filipino people themselves. The concept of Filipino hospitality initially seems like a tourism slogan, but she discovers it's a fundamental cultural value. In a small town in Siargao, famous for its surf breaks, Maria's tricycle breaks down. Before she can even worry, 3 locals have stopped to help, refusing any payment and insisting on driving her to her destination. When she gets lost trying to find a local restaurant in Puerto Princesa, a grandmother not only gives her directions, but walks her there personally, then introduces her to the owner and recommends the best dishes. Culinary adventures, a feast for the brave. Speaking of food, the Philippines offers a culinary adventure that reflects its complex history. Spanish colonization, Chinese trade, American occupation, and indigenous traditions have blended into a unique cuisine that surprises and delights. Maria quickly falls in love with adobo, meat marinated in vinegar, soy sauce, garlic, and spices, then braised until tender. Every family has their own recipe, and she tastes dozens of variations. There's sinigang, a sour soup that perfectly balances tamarind tang with savory richness. Sisig, a sizzling plate of chopped pork, onions, and chili peppers, becomes her favorite late-night food. Adventure awaits for every type of traveler. What strikes Maria most about the Philippines is its versatility. Adrenaline junkies can surf Cloud 9 in Siargao, spelunk in the underground rivers of Palawan, or cliff dive in Aragon Bay. Hikers can summit Mount Pulag for sunrise above the clouds, or trek through the rice terraces. Divers explore some of the world's richest marine biodiversity in the Coral Triangle. But the Philippines equally welcomes those seeking peace. Quiet islands like Siquijor offer relaxation, traditional healing practices, and a slower pace of life. Yoga retreats in Ubud and meditation centers across the islands provide spiritual renewal. Budget travelers find incredible value in hostels and local eateries, while luxury resorts on private islands cater to those seeking pampering. Subscribe to Global Divide for more things. Philippine.